Hello and welcome to the Angular TDD course on Eduonix. My name is Ilya and this is section 2, Theory and Terminology. In this lecture we are going to talk about ECMAScript and TypeScript. As you probably know, ECMAScript is a specification to standardize JavaScript. It was initially adopted 20 years ago in 1997, and well, before that JavaScript was not really standardized, so Microsoft maybe could introduce some functions that only supported by Internet Explorer. There were some functions that worked a bit differently in Netscape, and so developers had well, some tough times writing JavaScript. And well, also back then JavaScript was not considered as a really serious language. It was considered like maybe a toy language, and many people well, used it to just create some very strange animations that actually were not introducing any benefit for the user. They, I think, just were showing that the developer can actually code these kinds of animations, but it was really strange. And now, of course, no one actually uses JavaScript for that, and now JavaScript is being used to actually make our website more user-friendly and more comfortable to use, shall we say. So several editions were published since the adoption of ECMAScript. So I think JavaScript began to evolve quite fast since the year 2009. So when the ECMAScript 5 was released, JSON support was introduced, strict mode was supported, was introduced, and then ECMAScript 6 brought many different changes, some major changes to the language, as you probably know. And now new editions are being published, well, basically every year. So the latest edition at the time of recording this video is ECMAScript 2017. But unfortunately not all the browsers support new features that are introduced by ECMAScript, especially some old browsers like old Internet Explorers that unfortunately are being used by some people, especially in countries that have problems with maybe internet connection. So it's well, it's quite funny because like some years ago people were still using Internet Explorer 6. That's really strange because this version is not even supported by Microsoft website anymore. But well, some years ago this version was still used by some people. So if you'd like to support new features, you can still use a tool like Babel. So Babel is a quite useful tool. Well, it's a JavaScript compiler, so you can write code following new specification of ECMAScript, and this code will get compiled into vanilla JavaScript that is supported by all the browsers. So you can utilize Babel if you'd like to, so it can be installed by using this command. You can also try it out by clicking this button. So we can say let something, and as you see it gets compiled to well, old version of defining your variables, because this let keyword was not used before. Well, also you can like create maybe some class, and as you see this class keyword gets compiled into this construct, because obviously in the old version of JavaScript there were no classes, but well, actually in newer versions of JavaScript there are no classes as well, but we are like mimicking those classes, because JavaScript is not an object-oriented language, but newer specifications try to make this language look like object-oriented language. We can also instantiate this class, say something like that, So as you see, it's quite the same. Here we can create maybe some function, or just like this, something like say. And next we can say something like console log hi. Next we can say object dot say, and just look at that. So there are lots of code that we would need to write to make this work in old version of JavaScript. So just compare. Here I have like 10 lines of code. Well, if I remove those, this thing here, it's like 8 lines of code, and here it's about like 25 lines of code. So the difference is quite major. So Babel is used quite extensively to support older browsers and browsers that cannot yet handle all the new features of ECMAScript of 6 and later. Okay, let's return to our slides and also let's say a couple of words about TypeScript. So TypeScript is a type superset of JavaScript. So that's yet another technology that allows us to write some code that compiles to JavaScript. This technology was introduced and is currently supported by Microsoft Corporation, but it is free and open source, so it is really popular these days. Of course, this technology supports ECMAScript 2015 and newer specifications as well. And the key thing about TypeScript is we can introduce a static typization to our functions. Also, it enables features like interfaces, like mix-ins, like namespaces, and so and so and so. So that's a quite powerful technology. And why am I talking about this technology is because Angular is built with TypeScript, if you don't know. So let's visit the TypeScript's website. So here you can take a look at the documentation. You can download it, or you can just visit the playground to just see how TypeScript looks like. So here you can see that we are actually providing the type for our variables. So here we are saying that the message must be string, and if the past argument is not a string, then we will end up in an error. And so this way we can easily trace these kinds of errors. Because as you probably know, JavaScript is a dynamic language, so it has no basically types. It does not allow you to enforce types. It does not allow you to create static typing. And basically TypeScript solves these kinds of problems. Well, there are some other examples that you can take a look at. I'm not going to explain them here because, well, that's a not TypeScript course after all, and I actually hope that you know quite a bit about TypeScript, because we're going to use it quite extensively when writing our code. But you can still go to the documentation section and just see some tutorials. There is a quite simple tutorial called TypeScript in 5 minutes that you can follow to get the sense of TypeScript. And there are some, you see there is a handbook that talks about various features of TypeScript. So just take your time and study this handbook if you'd like to. So I think let's now wrap up this episode, this video, and proceed to the next one, where we are going to create our new Angular application and talk about various folders that are available for us. Specifically, we are going to talk about folders with the tests, and I'm going to explain what those folders are for. So hold on tight and see you in the next video.